All right, it is game week. SNL, Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. Texans officially back in the building. DeMeco Ryans officially behind the podium. And first thing he was asked about, this is the main event, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, the young man out of Rockwall, then Ohio State. Somehow got out of the state in college, but, you know, who's counting? Here's what DeMeco Ryans had to say about Jaxon Smith-Njigba, the guy that we're talking about a lot leading up to this game.
JSN has done an outstanding job this year for Seattle. Darnold has found a nice target to throw through, and he's made that entire offense go. Whether you're covering him or not, he's making explosive plays game after game. He continues to show up, and you know, JSN, he's definitely having a Pro Bowl caliber year. He's doing an outstanding job.
Yeah, he's going to be
all pro, whatever you want to call it. He's the best wide receiver in football right now.
Yeah, he's going to be a serious problem. And the stat that I found interesting that I actually heard Seattle media ask about it because I like to party, so I was listening to the Mike McDonald press conference today, and
he seems kind of boring. Is he boring?
Yes, he's very, very boring. So they asked him about the play action, and I guess Seattle's averaging 15 yards per pass on play action, which is 5 yards more than the second most. And I think it's interesting because if you listen to DeMeco Ryans, and I kind of agree with this, it does feel like he has a lot of respect for this running back duo. But if you just look at the rushing numbers, you would say, well, they haven't really done much this year. So like what's it like? But I guess maybe in the Seattle media type, I think his name was Michael, did a good job of bringing it up where maybe that's kind of a way that you can measure their effectiveness is how much respect they're getting from opposing teams that might open up that play action. Here was DeMeco talking about it. And here I have another theory on this. Just listen to old DeMeco talk about the offensive system that the Texans just said goodbye to.
Seattle's been they're by far the number one team in the league, play action pass. What do you think makes them so good at that? And what goes into defending that?
And for Seattle, they're good at the play action pass game because, you know, Kubiak's done a good job wherever he's been as a play caller. He's done a really good job of establishing the outside zone scheme, right? And with the outside zone scheme comes the keepers off of the outside zone action. So he's done a really good job of marrying both run game and passing game, meaning they both look very similar. So the play action pass game works because of the offensive line and how they come off the football, right? How they make the run look exactly like the pass. It puts the second level defenders in a bind where are you stepping up to defend the run or can you key it and diagnose it quick enough to understand that it's pass and now I need to drop in coverage. So they've done a really good job starting with Kenneth Walker in the run game. He's a really, really good running back in this league, and he's done a really nice job. And when you have him running the ball the way he runs it, all right, guys are going to commit. And once you get guys to step up 2 or 3 steps off, and now Darnold's done a good job of getting on the edges, making good decisions down the field, and he's had a lot of guys open in those play-action passing concepts. That's why they've been successful as well. A lot of guys are wide open.
He still loves this offense, man. Mm-hmm. Like it's still very obvious that he has a lot of love for this offense, a lot of respect for it. That was by far his biggest answer today. I do think this running back duo is better than maybe people give it credit, and more than the stats will show. So, you know, Seattle right now, if you try to just do some homework on Seattle and you try, whether it's the national opinions or the local opinions, Seattle is a very popular team right now. Like people think very highly of them. They think they have a very high ceiling. And I feel like this can be a game that the season's not over if you lose it, but I think things completely change if you show that you're capable of going and beating that team. Now, we haven't even gotten to the biggest area of concern, as well as something that you could maybe take advantage of, but I don't know if the Texans are really capable of that. But I think it's interesting listening to DeMeco talk about a system that they just said goodbye to and how much he just kind of lights up talking about. It's funny because if you compare the way that Caserio, when I asked him about the New England system, the way that he talked about that system and the way DeMeco talks about this system, it kind of shows that it was probably Nick's turn to pick his offense.
Well, look, they've got a coach that can actually run the system and can operate and adjust and maximize and change what needs to be changed, and not take Kyle Shanahan's book, put a piece of tape over the front, and make it say Bobby's book. That's what Kubiak is. Had some success in the league, and he's been around and he's failed, and so maybe he knows how to adjust from some of those failures and maximize things as well. So that's a positive there. Look, I don't think they have a good running back duo. I think they have one good running back, and they use a bad running back a lot of times. Zach Charbonnet is one of the most inefficient runners in all of football. He's got a ton of runs for 0 and negative yards over the course of the season, and Kenneth Walker is their stud back, and they don't use him. They rotate their backs too much. If they just leaned on one guy, they'd be a better rushing attack than they already are, and they're a pretty solid rushing attack. It's baffling watching Seattle week after week in the box scores, and then going back and then just reading about them. They use their backup running back that's not good way too much. You welcome Zach Charbonnet coming into the game if you're an opposing defense, because Kenneth Walker is really good, and they don't use him as much. And maybe they figured it out. Maybe they understand.
Kenneth Walker on your fantasy team at all?
What?
You have Kenneth Walker on your fantasy team at all?
I do not.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's
making sure.
I mean, but look, we would be losing our minds if Nick Chubb ran for 0 and 1 yard every time or negative yards, and Woody Marks was out here, one of the better running backs in all of football. I mean, that's not the case yet. It could be the case at some point this year, but their rushing attack is really good when Kenneth Walker's in there, and it's not very good when Zach Charbonnet's in there. So I welcome Zach Charbonnet on the field if I'm the Texans defense.
You talk about the Seattle offense too. Cooper Kupp's another guy. He was a pretty popular topic in the offseason. Seems like he's playing pretty good, relatively good too. I don't know if Petri finds his way lined up on him, but I mean, my goodness, you asked DeMeco Ryans about Jaylen Petri. It just find someone who loves you as much as DeMeco Ryans loves Jaylen Petri. Goodness gracious.
Jaylen is playing lights out for us. He is all over the field. He's asked to do many different things throughout a game, and he's the one guy who's very cerebral enough, smart enough to go out and handle whatever we ask of him defensively, whether that's blitzing, whether it's playing in coverage, whether it's playing back deep, like what all three levels of the defense. Jaylen provides us that flexibility to be able to move him around wherever we need to put him each week. And so to have a player who is as smart as he is and as reliable as he is, it really gives you a comfort as a play caller. It gives you comfort to be able to know that if we want something to happen, hey, you turn Jaylen on. And when he's on, he's going to find a way to make plays in the backfield. He finds a way to get the football, right, the way he's attacking the football. I love to see that continue. He's doing a great job of being a true spark plug for our entire team.
A true spark plug for the entire team. And this is, this is very obvious. Like when you talk about Jaylen Petri and how he's on the field so much and all that, that's how DeMeco feels. And quite frankly, it's been the case this year. Like when Jaylen Petri has been on the field, like he's performed at a good level the last few games. I'll go back to the Jacksonville game. I would say I'm not buying the stock right now. I'm not buying the Petri stock. I think it's very high right now. It's like the opposite of the crypto stock that just broke me.
Jaylen Petri is somewhere between where DeMeco Ryans thinks he is and where you think he is. Like, I don't think he's as bad as I think you think he is or will be on a consistent basis, and I don't think he's anywhere near as good as where DeMeco Ryans is. Look, he's had some really good moments from a coverage standpoint this year, which he was consistently a liability in coverage over the course of last year from this position. So he's had some nice moments. I just don't know that that's going to be able to continue. You think about what Seattle's going to throw at him. They're going to put Cooper Kupp out there in the slot. That's going to end up with Petri on him. They're going to put A.J. Barner out there, who's one of the most efficient tight ends in football. He's only got two targets this year that he didn't catch. over the course of the season. They're gonna challenge Jaylen Petri, and we talk about it all the time. Offenses feels like don't attack him enough in the passing game. It feels like this Seattle offense is really set up to attack him and to really get after Petri. And I'll be interested to see if there are opportunities, because Seattle likes to put more big guys on the field, if there are opportunities to have Petri out and have that third linebacker in. So is it EJ Speed? Is it Henry To'o with speed and Azeez Al-Shire? So that'll be a fascinating. DeMeco Ryans kind of joked when DJ Bename asked him about it. I'm not going to give all my secrets away, but you got to keep them guessing as far as how the Texans are going to play. I think that's part of the keep them guessing is how much they use Petri. When can they use Petri? When can they trust Jaylen Petri?
The other thing about it with the Texans is the D line of Seattle, and we haven't even gotten to that side, but that is not the ideal matchup for this offensive line. It's actually kind of scary because it seems like the offensive line's getting a lot of praise right now, and that defensive line is it's scary. It's a bunch of mean mother truckers on that defense, from Murphy to DeMarcus Lawrence, who's back, to Leonard Williams. Like all these guys are good. The secondary actually, and this is where it's kind of misleading with Seattle too, because last week they thought they were going to get Witherspoon back, and he didn't come back. And Mike McDonald actually expressed that it was, I don't know if you kind of read between the lines of they got a second opinion and they kept him out. Eamon Warry came back last week. Their secondary is actually beat up. The problem I have is I don't know if the Texans can take advantage of a banged up secondary. I'm sorry. I just don't. I haven't seen enough from this Texans offense for me to fully believe that if the secondary is beat up, if they can take advantage. I mean, they're talking about Shaq Griffin. Like Shaq Griffin is getting talked about in their media availability for how good he's played. That's how thin they are in the secondary. So
they had what, three starters out last game or two starters out last game?
Yes, and they had the Seahawks secondary is. I just don't know if the Texans can take advantage of that. Julian Love was out too. I mean, they had Julian Love out. They had they're in a weird spot right now.
See, that's the problem, is not only have the Texans not showcased the ability to take advantage of a beat up secondary on a consistent basis. Obviously, they took care of what the Ravens put out there on the field. Even if Seattle's missing a couple of guys, this ain't the Ravens defense you're going against in this matchup. The scary part is that they have such a good defensive line. They have so much success on that defensive line. You may not be able to protect CJ long enough to take advantage of some of those issues that they have in their secondary. You mentioned all those guys. Just to give you an idea of how nasty Seattle is third in the league in sacks. They are third in the league in quarterback pressure percentage, and they have the lowest blitz percentage in football. Most of the teams that have low blitz percentages are bad or are having bad defensive seasons. Not Seattle. They blitz 15.7% of the time, and they are one of the most pressure-heavy teams. And you mentioned Byron Murphy. He's kind of the main guy. He's got the most sacks. He's their dominant player, but they have so many guys. Like it's like DeMeco Ryans' dream. They throw 4 different guys out there, and they just unleash them, and they let the other 7 guys go out there and try to make them right, so to speak. And it's really impressive to watch. And when you dig into the numbers, I mean, they have so many guys playing really well. Boya Mafe is one of their edge guys. He didn't even have a sack yet this season, but he's constantly pressuring the quarterback. 20% pressure rate. It's like one of the 25 best pressure rates in all of football. It's pretty impressive to watch and see how they operate with just 4 defensive linemen, 4 pass rushers from time to time. Oh, by the way, they put enough pressure on you that you can't just sit back there and usually run the football a lot and try to neutralize some of that pass rush. They push the pile on the ground too. So it's a really good defensive line. It's akin to and it's akin to that Rams defensive line, and it's probably one of the better defensive lines they have left on the schedule too.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think about them, like I think the times where we saw like the Texans tackles just get their ass whooped in camp outside of Will Anderson and Daniil, which is obvious. But like Derek Barnett kind of had his way with, there was a real bad stretch for Ursery where Derek Barnett was just kind of grown manning him. Mm-hmm. And I think DeMarcus Lawrence, like when you think about just OG grown man, mean as fuck, like not going to let like a younger guy have a good day. He kind of reminds me of that. And he's also really good against the run. So I know Titus Howard is getting a lot of praise, and I know that Derek Barnett is, but I think this is a kind of game where the grown man stuff comes in. And the other thing that they do a lot, they're top 5 in stunts. So like they stunt a lot. And that was our biggest concern about the Texans heading into the season was how are they going to handle stunts? They haven't really, they've had some instances here and there, but they haven't faced a team that stunts as much as Seattle does. So they're going to face a lot of stunts, and they're going to have some just grown man ass strength on top of just a young nasty mofo on Murphy in the inside. Let me put it this way. If this were the football teams as a whole, it's a 3.5 point line. If this was a Survivor Series tag team match with their D line versus the Texans O line, I mean, it would.
Maybe you can go get your popcorn.
Yeah, it would be a bathroom break.
Yeah, so that's the thing about their defensive line is they can attack you all the different ways. You mentioned the stuff Ursery struggles with. They're going to throw speed at him too. He's had some issues with a couple of guys that are just quicker off the jump and get past him and affect C.J. Stroud and affect the Texans passing game. And then on the interior, I mean, Murphy's playing like one of the best players in all of football in the interior right now. So you're going to have a big challenge for Juice Scruggs, for Jake Andrews, for Ed Ingram. And I'll say this about the offensive line, super tough challenge. If they hold up against this defensive line, they have a decent performance. They're good enough on this one. I feel like that's a buy-in point for me. And I could be even more bought in on the direction and them having fixed this thing. If they are able to hold up against this D-line and keep C.J. Stroud in it and allow Stroud to make some plays, then that's a really good job by these guys because, yeah, from a talent perspective, they far outweigh the Texans' offensive line. And I'd go as far as to say if you were drafting defensive linemen, if you had a draft, I think your first pick's probably still Will Anderson. And then you probably pick Byron Murphy. Then you probably pick Daniil Hunter. And then you probably pick the rest of the Seahawks. And then you pick the rest of the Texans. Like that's how talent-laden their defensive line and how well all those guys are playing right now.
Now let's hear DeMeco talking about Titus Howard, and we want you to join us Friday at Spanky's. We'll talk about that in a sec. But first, let's hear DeMeco. It was kind of a setup. Tell me how great Titus Howard is, but here's what he had to say about it.
He's been consistent. That's what O-line play is about. It's about playing consistent. It's about playing within yourself, not getting overextended, but doing your job down in and down out, without a lot of glory, without a lot of pats on the back, right? It's a very selfless position, right? And he's done a really great job throughout this year so far. He's improved. He's done a great job of anchoring the right side for us, and very proud of him, not only for his play, but Titus has also grown as a leader, right? Seeing him become more vocal, right? Communicating amongst the offensive linemen, right? That's what I'm most proud of with Titus. Besides the play, it's how he's grown into that leadership role, and that's what we needed from him.
All you had to say was he's better without Laramie Tunsil, so I can read between the lines. But yeah,
there's been plenty of Titus pats on the backs. Now, I don't feel like Titus is giving them to himself. He's not patting himself on the back, but there have been lots of people patting Titus on the back here over the past week or so. And Nick Caserio says he's playing the best football of his career right now. DeMeco with the high praise today. There's been lots of people patting Titus on the back here past week or so. Let's see how he does in the situation that he has coming up against the Seattle front. And
yeah, I think this is the test. Like this is the biggest test they're going to have in a multitude of ways. And this is where they're going to judge him. And you mentioned, about this game and if the Texans win this game, then I'm going to be on the air on Tuesday morning post game, and then Tuesday morning 9 a.m. SNL Reaction Monday, and then the Texans Collective. God, it's gonna be a long day. Texans Collective, and then that, and my main theme is going to be this is a playoff team. Like that's how big of a win I think this is, and the moment in which it happens. Because right now there's 5 2-loss teams and there's 2 1-loss teams in the AFC. If you're one game in the loss column behind the 3 through 7 in the AFC. If you show that you can win this game with the way that things are set up, with the previously mentioned goals, because we laid out the goals. I said 5-5, 5-5 week 11. You can salvage the season. If you win the first 2 of that stretch or first 3 of that stretch, and you're able to get greedy and you're able to beat a team that has strengths, because we're talking about these strengths, not to tell you the Texans don't have a chance, just to tell you how big of a challenge this is and how crazy the matchups are. Like, I think the Texans defense can hold up against the Seattle offense. I don't have very much doubt about that. But the matchup that we've been the most concerned about and what has been the most popular topic, not just for the whole DeMeco Ryans era, but really for the entire history of the Texans, has been the offensive line. And the talent on this defensive line, the way that they play, the way that they stunt is going to be a problem. And here's the other thing that I think we need to kind of make clear. There were a couple of times where Trevor Lawrence was kind of his fault that they got sacked too. And that goes back to CJ. Like, CJ is going to have to, we've talked about CJ doing what he can do to help the offensive line. He's going to have to figure that out as well. And he's going to have to be a part of it too. So it's very easy to just point to the offensive line, but CJ is going to have to do his thing too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think your point about like where you feel this team could go, if you beat the Seattle Seahawks, it's going to be because you carried over some of the good things from those less impressive teams that you beat. You beat a bad Titans team, you beat a banged up and potentially bad Ravens team. Okay, that hasn't impressed anybody. But if you're going to beat the Seattle Seahawks, you're going to have had to have carry over some of the good from those 2 victories and put it together in this game. And the defense will have to have played well, and the offense will have had to have given you enough in this matchup. So that's the build as well. We talked about how those 2 games won't matter if you don't build on them. Well, they matter a lot if they started as that inflection point for this offense to really take off and get going. The defense has had a solid performance from first kickoff in LA against the Rams. They've had really nice moments, and collectively they've put together a resume that is, to this point, the best in the league in points allowed by over 3.5 points per game. But the offense is the one that you had to show some things. The offensive line was the most criticized unit on this team the entire offseason and heading into the season, and one of the most criticized units the first 3 weeks. Stabilized. Okay, now that you've stabilized, don't fall backwards. Can you put more together? And it's certainly a tough challenge to put it together against.
Yep, sure is. Let's go to the super chat here on SNL. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Big Doyle says we got a weather report. Says Seattle weather for next Monday, low 50s, high 40s, and rain. This game may turn into a sloppy, wet mess. I heard it was clear skies. I don't know. But I heard it was 50-40, but clear skies. 7CP5. Shout out to our guy, formerly known as Stone Alone. HDAV, afternoon to you. Mi amigo. HDAV making the trip to Spanky's this weekend. Not really. I don't think so. Saturday, but it's a drive for him. Malik says, don't love Petri yet, but he was not a problem in coverage last year, Cody, besides the Jet game. Even this year, it's been one notable play. DeMeco plays him smart. You might want to look up those numbers from last year, man.
Well, he doesn't need to look them up. I can just tell you, he was the worst regularly playing coverage defensive back that the Texans played last year. He had the highest catch percentage allowed. He had the highest yards per allowed per catch. He had the highest passer rating allowed in regularly playing DBs for the Texans last year. So, yeah, he was bad in coverage.
Yeah, and I don't think he was great against the Rams. I don't think he was great against Tampa Bay. But, yeah, he definitely was. They do, but we will agree that DeMeco does play him smartly. That is 100% true.
It does feel like they have at least a willingness to not have him on the field no matter what, because they have been able to put an extra linebacker out there from time to time. Like, they are not fully, wholly set in their ways that, Petri has to be on the field. Petri has to be out there. Like, okay, we'll throw EJ Speed in there with To'o and Shair, or we'll throw To'o in there with Speed and Shair, and we'll just put the big guys out there and let them take care of the business.
Speaking of big guys, we'll be at Spanky's this Friday, Sharpstown location. The 17th, we'll be there from 3 till whenever. We'll also be there on 31st. I'm going to put Cody on the spot right now. I want you to order your meal from Spanky's. I'm also not going to eat all day Thursday, so I'm doing a little fast challenge.
Okay.
But go ahead.
This week I'm feeling the tater kegs. Last time I was there, I think I went and got the fried mushrooms, but I think I'm feeling the tater kegs this week. So I'm gonna start with tater kegs,
which is jumbo tots filled with cheese, bacon, served with homemade ranch dressing. You can smother them in queso, chili, and jalapenos too, if you so desire.
Yeah, the smother them is a game time decision because you never know if you're feeling that you need that or not. But I would think that how I feel today is just regular, not smothered.
Okay.
And then I'm going in with a half and half pizza. I'm going half barbecue chicken pizza and half meat lovers pizza.
Okay, so you're going half meat lovers pizza, half barbecue chicken pizza. I'm gonna go with a pizza. I'm gonna do what I did last time. I'm gonna throw the cilantro on there. Cilantro was pretty delicious. So I'm gonna go with the cilantro. I'm gonna go with the Italian sausage, and I'm even gonna throw some mushrooms on there. And then for my app, I don't know what I'm getting. That's going to be a game time decision. That's going to be
You love the wings.
I do love the wings, but sometimes don't have room. Meet us at Spanky's this Friday. We look forward to seeing y'all.
You want to, here we could go next level fat guy here. I don't know if you're ready for this. You're probably not. We could split the chicken Alfredo lasagna as an appetizer and then eat our pizzas.
I'm in.
See?
Yeah,
that's some next level stuff right there.
It's next level. By the way, if you're in the Spanky's area, $6.50 pasta tonight too, including the chicken Alfredo lasagna.
Yep,
there you go.
The new special for October. When it's only here for October, unless I guess if they had a lot of people really like it, they probably add it for full time. But I'm gonna take
it to a next level fat guy thing. I'm ordering a side of red sauce with the chicken Alfredo lasagna.
Okay, get a little mix it up here. Okay, I like that.
There we go. All right, so we've heard DeMeco talking about the Seattle defense, why they're good, all that. Let's hear him again talking about how the Texans offense got back on track. What exactly happened, Coach? Explain that to us.
Us being able to stay committed to the run game and run the football. You can run the ball, you can sustain drives. That's the key. And that'll be the key for us moving forward. We can do that. We can control the line of scrimmage, get positive plays in the running game. That allows Kaylee, to be able to open up the playbook and call whatever he wants, whatever he's installed that particular week. Everything is at his disposal when you can stay on schedule, and that's what it's been the past 2 weeks.
All right.
Can I put him, sir? Excuse me. I need you to sit down in this chair.
5 quarters, you mean? The last 5 quarters.
We're gonna go ahead and put him on the lie detector, and I need him to say that again, and then that little thing on the lie detector is going to be going crazy.
Yeah, it's been the last 5 quarters too, if we're being honest. It's been the last 5 quarters. They hadn't even gotten into the red zone before the fourth quarter of that Tennessee game.
Now, I don't doubt that stuff gets a lot easier when they feel like they can run the football. That's obvious. That's a no-brainer situation. The NFL is a passing league. The NFL offenses are typically most successful when they are consistently and efficiently throwing the football. And that's how you're going to be able to put up enough points to beat the Seattle Seahawks. Like, you're not going to turn this into, a slop fest and win this thing 10-9. Like, you're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to put points on the board. They're going to move the football. They're going to put points on the board. You've got to be able to put points on the board. And their rushing attack, while solid, and has a little potential to be even more than what we've seen with the Chubb and Woody combo, it's not to the point where it's taken over a game and it's really setting the tone for this offense. That still resides with the quarterback, and that still resides. I mean, you had 4 incomplete passes last game from the quarterback. 2 of them were drops and 2 of them were good defensive plays. The rest, he was dicing up whoever was out there. Like, That's how you're going to win a lot of football games is the passing attack gets going.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The DeMeco versus Darnold dynamic is pretty interesting because I don't know, man. Like I do wonder if DeMeco thinks he can kind of take advantage of Darnold a little bit, but we thought that last year and they ended up getting the best of him. Now there was obviously Minnesota's defense factored in, and it was also the worst performance that this offensive line has had in the DeMeco era. That was the one where they were blaming the refs, and it was just kind of a all around cluster from the first play where they had that long play to Nico Collins, and then
Grenard bullshitting everybody, including Stover.
Yes,
that was a tough one there for them. And then they did not make it as hard as they needed to make it on Sam Darnold. That was when, oh gosh, who ended up on Justin Jefferson it was Eric Murray.
Yeah, Murray.
Eric Murray ended up on Justin Jefferson. How does that happen?
Yeah, that was rough. Shout out to TDECU for doing what they do, including sponsoring Reaction Monday. The Texans debit card, a lot of people taking advantage of that 15% off at the Texans team shop. Go to tdcu.org/Texans. You can get involved in the game, and then you're going to get that 15% off at the Texans team shop.
Yeah, the 15% off the Texans team gear with that Texans debit card. tdcu.org/Texans, where you can find out more. Membership required, insured by the NCUA. 15 greater Houston area locations. You walk in, you can find out everything that you need to know about where you're putting your money. They want to talk to you. It's your credit union. It's not just a slogan. They mean it. They're going to work for you. They're going to put your money to work for you, and you're going to get all these fantastic perks, including 15% off hats, jerseys, car decals, T-shirts, whatever you might need. Hey, you're thinking about, hey, it might get cool this winter. Hey, get you some winter gear right now. You can get that 15% off, plus all the amazing other perks that TDECU provides you. Man, they want to talk to you about putting your money with them. When you put your money with them, you get tons of perks, including that Texans debit card that not only gives you those perks, but looks good doing it. Man, that debit card is a beaut. So get you signed up. TDECU.org/Texans. Find out all your information.
Take care of it.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Bubba says cilantro on pizza with whiskey makes me pass out every time. I don't know that the cilantro deserves blame for this. I think it could easily be pepperoni. I don't. Does cilantro have a role in making you pass out? I just feel like you probably happen to put cilantro on the pizza and that makes you pass out. I feel like that's unnecessary with the cilantro shot.
Big cilantro got to Landry here. I don't understand. Is there some sort of chemical reaction I'm unaware of? Like
a whiskey.
Okay.
John McClain's changed. By the way, John McClain going to be out there Friday as well. He says, Landry, do you like pineapple on pizza or not? Cody does. I don't hate it. I just don't. It's not something that I can tolerate, but it's not something I'm going to do.
If it's your go-to order, I feel like there are better orders than that, but it's a nice change up every now and then.
I don't know about all that. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of there.
If somebody if everybody's ordering pizzas and somebody orders pineapple on their pizza, I'll trade you one of my slices for your slice. But it's not really a situation where I'm ordering a whole pizza with that. And you really don't have to. It's Spanky's because you go half and half.
Let's hear more from DeMeco about the defense, the Seattle defense. We can either go with why their defense is so good or how much he loves their D-line. I'll let you decide.
Yeah, this is about the Seahawks and their D-line, and you can hear it. DeMeco just keeps listing off more and more and more good players from what Seattle's done.
The interior piece with their tackles, Murphy, Reed, Williams, they're really big guys inside, strong. It's hard to move those guys inside, so it starts there, and then on the edges, really smart players on the edge with Nwosu, with Mafe, with all the guys that they have, DeMarcus Lawrence, like all those guys done a really nice job on the edges. Their entire defense line, I feel like that's the strength of their defense, right? And it's going to be a challenge for us to handle their front. It's all going to start there. Any team that's been able to move the ball versus these guys, you have to do a good job versus their front. And they're good in the run game, also in the pass game with the stunts that they run. They don't have to pressure much because they get a lot of pressure with their front four guys. So, yeah, a huge challenge for us, challenge for our offensive line this week.
Yep. It's going to be the ultimate challenge. And I do wonder, keep an eye on DeMeco on the sidelines with Matt Burke. Is Matt Burke, are they 100% committed to the change that they made before the bye? Are they 100% committed to that?
I am intrigued to see if you get the old DeMeco Ryans, where he's calling the plays and he puts the play sheet up to his nose so that nobody can read his lips. I got a hunch they're going back to DeMeco as the defensive play caller. This is a scenario that calls for one of the better play callers of defense around the league. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like Matt Burke, yeah, you take care of Tennessee, you take care of a depleted Ravens, but it feels like if we're digging into the bag of tricks, if you're going to do more than just, hey, let the ball roll out there, let our 11 guys take care of it. If there may be, I don't know, something on your defense that you don't typically do defensively, like having a cornerback follow a certain wide receiver, you may need the far more experienced and far more successful defensive play caller in that situation than having Matt Burke do it.
Yeah, I'll just keep an eye on it as to what exactly he wants to do. Back to Zissou.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Chance has been wanting to know for a while, what exactly is the Patriots system offensively versus what is the Rams system, and what do you mean that we've seen more Ram stuff recently? So the Patriots system, the biggest knocks on the Patriots system is it's exactly what the Texans kind of talked about, square peg round hole. Quarterback has a lot of control, like as far as protection, all that. Caserio kind of went in depth on it if you want to go back to the video that I put out the other day. But as far as the Ram stuff, it's kind of hard to say what exactly it is with McVay because they've actually run the ball multiple ways. They've kind of adjusted to backs pretty decently. But the whole thing that I liked about the Rams, without like getting too X and O, was they used multiple slot receivers and they were open-minded with the style in which they ran the rock. That was the biggest difference for me. It's closer. The Rams is closer to what the Texans were running before than what this is.
Well, a couple of things too. It's the Patriots system with the wide receivers puts a lot on them before the snap, after the snap. I was talking with Seth the other day, and he speculated that they've taken away some of the post-snap stuff from receivers, making things easier for those guys. And so it's easier for them to run the routes and CJ to know exactly where they are. So that's a little bit of a less. And then some of the pre-snap stuff and the willingness to throw it to the slot. I mean, Jaden Higgins' touchdown was a big slot moment where he was in the slot, and it was an adjustment by CJ Stroud to change the play a little bit. And Higgins runs out of the slot, and they find him. And big slot is something that the Rams do just about as good as anybody else. They figured out and found Puka Nacua a couple of years ago and plopped him in there, and he's been fantastic. So that's one of the things. And then you saw a little bit less stagnation from the offense. Like it wasn't just guy here. Like there's a little bit of movement and motion. They added a little bit more of that in there as well as they got more comfortable in this team.
I think Malik wants to bring back the Petri talk that we just had.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Says, do we really care about these stats and metrics? LOL. Remember Tavier T. Landry, you kept saying last year teams haven't taken advantage of him in coverage. I said they didn't take advantage of Petri enough. And then he got hurt and Jimmy Ward came in and Jimmy Ward looked just as good. The point with the Tavier Thomas thing is that I watched the guy play. Like the difference between looking at PFF stats when you watch every play that the team plays multiple times and like just looking up PFF stats about teams you don't cover is you can kind of add context. Like I watched Tavier Thomas play and I knew that the inside corner thing was kind of a joke. I watched Petri play last year and I knew that he's kind of vulnerable in coverage. And Sean McVay knew it too. I mean, there's a reason that the smartest coach they faced kind of takes advantage of him in that area.
Yeah, and worth noting those stats that I spit out, which was Petri was catch allowed percentage, passer, like that's not PFF. That's Next Gen Stats, which is a lot of it is based on where physically the players are, because Next Gen Stats has access to that player data, where they are, who's the nearest defender in coverage. And oh, by the way, I watched last year. Go watch the games and tell me he's a good cover guy. He's not.
He's a valuable piece of what they do, though. He's a very valuable piece. Speaking
of Jaylen Petri can make a lot of plays. Absolutely. I'm scared to death every time they run out there and make him go cover somebody who's a really good football player.
By the way, CJ Gardner-Johnson cut again. Pour one out for him.
Shocker. Are you really cut when you're just a practice squad player that never got an opportunity? Aren't you just
Pour one out for CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's gone.
Aren't you just really, reassessed for the free agency pool? The best was it was Schefter. He's like, the agent got involved and he was upset that they traded for a safety and they thought there'd be an avenue to playing time. Okay. Do you know CJ Gardner-Johnson won a Super Bowl ring last year?
Never heard it.
Yeah.
Never heard it. Super Bowl champ, though.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champ doing his thing. Shout out to Texans Turf. Texans Turf is the best in the game. One of the best things I did for my home. The fall is upon us. Fire pit season is upon us. There will be no mud. There will be no insects. It will always be green and clean in my backyard. And I love Texans Turf so much. I take pride in it. It's the best thing that I've done. I got the turf rake too. It's fresh as new right now. I think the dog and daughter are back there playing as we speak. If you want to get in the turf game, I already did the shopping for you. 100% serious. I talked to 6 to 8 companies. I was almost so discouraged by how slimy some of these guys were, but then I finally met Dan and his team, and they took care of me, and they've taken care of a lot of viewers / listeners of SNL, and they'll do the same for you, no matter how big or small the job is.
TexansTurf.com is where you can see all the fantastic work that they've done. You can get that free estimate scheduled on the website as well. You go over there and you take a look at it. You're going to want some of that for your backyard, for your business, for the rental home that you have, for anything. TexansTurf.com, they can take care of you.
What is like the biggest change that you could see happening? Like, could you see the Texans maybe implementing the rookies more on offense? Defensively, I feel like they're kind of set. Like, and I don't think DeMeco took a shot at Christian Harris, but he did say EJ Speed has earned the right to get more reps. And this was after we saw Christian Harris inactive last week. Could you see anything on offense? Like maybe it means Woody Marks gets a larger chunk of the pie at running back. Is there anything that you see happening to where it's like, okay, well, they use the bye week in order to make this adjustment?
I do feel like the Baltimore Ravens and the approach that they had with Woody Marks was almost like let's try this. Let's see if we can sort of hide that this guy's not an essential part of our offense. Like, let's just see if Chubb can handle a lot more, and we're going to throw the ball better against these guys because we feel pretty good about the matchup. And then I just feel like they might be back in the Woody Marks business a lot more against Seattle. You're just going to need a guy like him that can be trustworthy and consistent out of the backfield from a catching perspective. One of the incompletes last game, against the Ravens was a Chubb drop, and it hit him right in the hands. Like he's got to catch that. Woody Marks doesn't drop that. Woody Marks catches that and turns it in to something. I feel like they tried to convince everybody that they're not, a heavy Woody Marks team against the Ravens just to be able to go heavy Woody Marks in this matchup. That to me feels like, hey, Woody Marks and then use Chubb as necessary with Woody Marks. When 27 needs a break, boom, here comes Nick Chubb. But I still feel like this is the best version of this offense to me feels like when Stroud's rolling and Woody Marks is in there.
I just don't know, man. I don't know that they can. I don't know that they can quit Nick Chubb, and it just feels like it's going to be Nick Chubb, and it's going to be Woody Marks fills in accordingly, and maybe that means he could eventually figure out something like that. They'll figure out ways to use him. My dream for Woody Marks is for him to be a guaranteed 4 or 5 catch a game guy. and then finding the perfect complement for him that's better than Nick Chubb. Chubb's fine. I just like it's more like Nick Chubb's like a third back at this point in his career. He's not an RB1.
My thing is when the game was close to being over and in question, they were leaning on Woody Marks. When the game was not in question, they still had a lot more Nick Chubb against Baltimore. Like, we had a pretty good sense of the Texans taking care of their business by about the middle of the second quarter, and we didn't see as much Woody Marks, and we didn't see as much sort of built for him moments in the offense when they needed offense against the Tennessee Titans. And it was a close game, and the Titans are one drive away from not only tying the game, but taking the lead pending an extra point. They were leaning on Woody Marks. They were going to him. They were getting him the football. He was moving the offense. He was getting it going. I feel like when the game's closer, not in, there's not certainty, you need more Woody Marks than you need Nick Chubb.
I wish they felt that way. It just feels like they're kind of leaning that way. I don't think Woody Marks is a workhorse back either. I think they're just kind of in a weird spot where neither one of the guys that they have are based on personnel, like in the ideal fit for what they want them to do. Like in a perfect world, Nick Chubb's not on your team, right? Like if Joe Mixon's healthy, then you have Joe Mixon, and then you have Woody Marks sprinkled in, and then maybe Nick Chubb's there, perhaps. But like in a perfect world, he's not on your squad. Like the reason that Nick Chubb's on your team right now, unless they just wanted him to be like their RB3, is it's connected to the Mixon thing. And the Woody Marks thing is just kind of a balance thing where the impact of him being a change of pace guy is not as much. Now we have seen him and Chubb in certain series, the one where Chubb ended up scoring the touchdown, where they had a couple of tough runs consecutively. I think that was the drive. Might have been 2 drives later, but I don't feel like their committee is perfectly aligned like it will be next year once they figure out what they're going to do at RB1.
Yeah, no, I don't know that it's perfectly cast, but that's what they have. That's what they got to work with. And working with this duo, I feel like they work best with more Woody Marks against a better football team like the Seattle Seahawks than what they played against Baltimore and certainly against Tennessee. So if you were trying to, back one of these two running backs, you're backing Woody Marks, and you'd like to see more of him and sprinkle in Chubb as necessary. And look, there's going to be some moments where Nick Chubb is necessary. Hey, go hear the between the tackles guy. Go get us a couple hard yards, run into some bodies, and let them know Nick Chubb's here. Okay. And then there's going to be times where it's like, hey, let's get Woody the ball. Let's get him there on the edge, and let's see if we can get this thing, bust a big play. Let's throw it to Woody because we know he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Like, is he a running back one? No, but can he be a really useful part of a running back room? Absolutely.
And he's the best back on this team. We know that.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Willie Roy Boy 9951. My God, this is getting more and more AOL screen name-ish. What's going on with the names today?
YouTube changed it. It changed it to people's like signed up names instead of their like, what they wanted to. So
they all look like bots.
It's a YouTube thing, not a people thing, not an us thing.
I fear they might lose against the Seahawks, but could see them go on a 4-game win streak after. The key is our defense holding teams to low scoring. Yeah, the key is always the defense. So if they lose to Seattle, you got the 3 noon home games, and then you got Tennessee. So, I mean, San Francisco's beat up. Then you have Denver, and then you have Jacksonville. So, I mean, that's for me why you want to get more greedy. And I think that Seattle's the toughest game. So if you can win the toughest game, then you feel like you can beat any other team. So yeah, it's 5-5 again to week 11. It's 5-5. If what you say happens, then you're talking 6-4 instead of 5-5. So that would be ideal. But this is a game where if they can't win this game, and then we see them win 3 home games, and we see them beat Tennessee, even in that scenario, you still haven't seen them win the type of game that they're going to have to win to have success late in the season. In other words, you're going to have to go to Kansas City. You're going to have to go to Los Angeles. I know the atmosphere in Los Angeles isn't as tough. And then you're going to have to go to Indy. but you'll go to Indy before that. So the reason why this game is so significant is it can be a swing game. It's a team that matches up with you very well against the thing that most people are concerned about. And it's a type of game that you're going to have to win if you're going to make noise late in the season.
I mean, this very simply, to distill it down to 2 words, it's a prove it game. Prove it. Offense headed in the right direction. Prove it. O-line's better. Prove it. Defense is elite. Prove it. Derek Stingley can shut a guy down. Prove it. Like, I mean, it's a prove it game for a variety of pieces of this team for all different levels. It's a prove it game.
Yeah, and you've heard Derek Stingley, and this is kind of where it goes down to. Like you've heard Derek Stingley say how much he likes following around the other team's receiver. Like, he takes it very personal. He thinks it's something that needs to, when you pay him like you paid him. I mean, what are we here for if you're not going to let him do that? Like, if you're not going to let him do that, what are we here for? And that was really kind of one of the, I think it was an encouraging moment of the DeMeco Ryans era. Like, as far as judging DeMeco Ryans as a coach, and I remember it at the time, I would say how far apart were the Texans Browns games in 2023? Was it like a month and a half or something?
Yeah, it was about that. Yeah, like 5 weeks, maybe, I think.
Yeah, it was about like a 5-week, whatever stretch where DeMeco Ryans lets Amari Cooper go crazy. Derek Stingley's on the other side of the field from him to where the Browns are basically avoiding him. And then after the game, DeMeco Ryans says, well, we don't do that. That's not what we do. We don't follow around the other team's receiver. Well, he did in the playoffs, and he shut his ass down. So I thought that was encouraging with DeMeco because A, it let us see that Stingley was capable of it, and B, it showed that DeMeco Ryans was not so stubborn to his system and what he may or may not do, and he allowed him to do that. So now that we've already seen it, you got to put him on JSN. Now, JSN right now is a much better player than Amari Cooper was at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say he's one of the 5 best receivers in the league? Is that fair?
There's no receiver playing better football right now than JSN.
Yeah, they're not playing better. And I know Jamar Chase is just in a spot where now he's playing with the ghost of Joe Flacco. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, no, he's a top 5 guy. So you want to see if Stingley can follow that around and figure it out. And that's what everyone is looking. That's what everyone's looking at. That's the matchup. That was the first question DeMeco got. By the way, I saw that Alpha Aaron tagged.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
He tagged JSN in his question to DeMeco, and then he tagged an agent in his other question.
He tagged Jaxon Smith-Njigba in DeMeco's praise of Jaxon Smith-Njigba.
So Aaron asks a question about Jaxon Smith-Njigba, and then he tweets out.
To be fair, he asked a question about Jaxon Smith.
Yeah, and then DeMeco goes, what's his name?
And he's like, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing with you.
Yeah. So yeah, he tagged Jaxon Smith, and then he tagged first round management. Whoever that is.
First round management.
Yeah. That feels like you might have gone in there to ask that question too, Tag. I don't know what was going on there.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
First round management sounds like it sounds like the bad guys for like a Disney movie about a boy band. It's like those people at first round management won't let the guys out of their contract. First round management.
Yeah. I don't know what it was.
Someone get Drew Rosenhaus in here, please. Let Rosenhaus go get Jaxon Smith-Njigba. First round management. What's that? What is all right? You're JSN. You're chilling. You finally decide to look through your mentions, and you're like, what? This was this video of DeMeco Ryans. What did he say? He better not have talked no shit about me. And then you click it, and then it's DeMeco Ryans talking about how great you are, and he's like, what? Why did this guy tag me in this? That makes me laugh so much.
It's funny. Sometimes guys get tagged during games. Yeah, this is it right here. So it was about JSN, and it's right here. It's talking about how
we played you the clip. We just didn't tag first round management.
There you go. No, there's that, and then there's a different one where it's
increased flexibility centered around the commitment to the run game.
yeah, right here.
Is it? Hold on. Let's see if it's the commitment to the run game. Hold on. I can figure this out. Just give me whose agent is first round management and whose agent is that? Because if it's, I'm trying to do the legwork on this to see who Aaron's trying to pump up.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
Beasting it.
Hold on. Hold on. That's not Cole Popovich's agency, is it?
I don't know what was going on with that. No way. He tagged Cole Popovich's agency. No way.
I don't know whose agency it is, but if you're talking about commitment to the run game, it's not.
That is kind of an alpha move. That is kind of an alpha move.
Best I can tell, it's not Chubb's agents. It's not Woody Marks' agents. It's not Ed Ingram's agents, because I thought maybe it was Ed Ingram.
Yeah, I was confused by it.
I don't know who he's tagging in this. Aaron, what are we doing?
I don't know. I saw it and I was like, who is that? But then he got in like the waiver wire like rhythm where there's like a bunch of stuff going on. But I was like, man, whose agent is that?
Okay, let's see here. I'm rolling through the first round management. Oh, oh, here it is.
Oh no.
Titus's agency.
Oh, okay.
Titus's agency.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you sure Titus and Popovich aren't the same? Is Popovich on there?
It just on their website, it just has NFL players.
Okay, so Titus's agency got tagged.
Titus's agency. Yep.
There you go. Okay. Alpha Beast.
Yeah, that's where it is. Yeah. I don't know that. I mean, look, Titus has had a solid start to the year. Is Titus the key to the run game? I don't know if Titus is the key to the run game. There was a whole Titus quote you could have used for the Titus agent tag.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Garland Brown says, "What's up, Garland? How you doing, man?" He's taking advantage of that TDCU debit card right there. He says, "Landry, did you watch the Ravens game?" I did, sir. I'll say they took advantage of that beat up secondary.
Yeah,
they did. My counter would be Seattle's is getting better, and Seattle's D-line, the healthy version of Seattle's D-line, is way bigger mofo than the Ravens. So that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of it, is that it's a tough D-line.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to take care of a ailing and weakened secondary when they also can't rush the passer. Seattle, one of the best the most quarterback pressures in football this year as a defense. So
a lot of stunts. We've said that. A lot of stunts. All right. We appreciate everyone for rolling through. We're officially in game mode. So here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow they're going to have an off day. So today was basically like Monday. Tomorrow is basically like their Tuesday. So they pushed it back. We might have a special stream on Saturday, depending on what happened. We don't know what the injury report's going to be, so we'll figure that out. I don't anticipate any.
Hope pretty healthy coming out of the bye week, unless somebody went and filmed a couple episodes of Jackass.
Yeah, I don't anticipate any. I don't anticipate anything crazy going on.
Here's what I got for you tomorrow. I have an in-depth breakdown about Seattle's offensive line, because they have a Texans target that we talked about a ton from this year's draft, who's playing pretty well in Gray Zabel, and they might have the worst offensive lineman in football on their offensive line.
Yeah, and he's had hat tricks in games. I know exactly who you're talking about. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. Again, Spanky's this Friday. We want to see you there. The best menu in the game and the most fun in the game, and the season is back. We're getting back in the swing. Bye week is over. It is complete. DeMeco's ready. We think the Texans are ready. By the way, we'll hear from Derek Stingley at some point this week. This is going to be a Derek Stingley media session that usually sometimes it's like, you don't need to bother Sting, but we gotta talk to Sting about this JSN thing. And spoiler alert, Athletes First and David Mulligetta will likely get tagged when Stingley says whatever the hell he says.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Subscribe, like, ride along. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.